First thing we're going to talk about is the controversial news of Sif going to be farmable inside of the War Store. And this is probably the most painful, expensive, inefficient way to release a character. Boy, this is a commitment of resources. Now, the War Store uses this currency here, which is awarded inside of winning a war. And someone made a Reddit post and explained the math. And that means that Sif will show up here for 1375, and this is going to be a direct conflict for people that are using this currency, which I've been using this currency exclusively for the superior mini uniques, which are required to get into Dark Dimension 3. And I'm going to tell you this right now, I'm no longer going to be buying mutant and skill and maybe even mystic ones out of here. I'm going to probably have to even scale back quite a bit more and only buy tech and bio. Tech and bio just seem to be vital. The way that the Dark Dimension 3's weighted, it seems like all of the city are bio at the end, and then all of the skills and mutants are in the global, and then in Cosmic, you've got, some good ones that are tech and bio, but it seems like there's no mutants and skills that are useful inside of the Cosmic and the city nodes. It's all bio in city, and then tech is a little bit there inside of the thing. So it's a complicated way of resourcing management because it is very challenging and resource intensive to go to gear 14, which gives the characters a massive stat boost. Traditionally, a character going from, let's say, gear 10 to gear 11 gets a 2, 3, 4, 5% boost, but going from 13 to 14 is like 20, 30% boost. It's a big deal. We're going to talk about Hela in a minute, but they're also going to be a blob blitz next week, which we expected, and the data mine also suggests that Red Skull is going to be a blitz release as well. Then they also talked about Hela being farmable inside of the end of the villain campaign. So they're going to release the last part of the villain campaign, and Hela will be farmable inside of that. And it doesn't look like the requirements are going to be that challenging. We will see. I will try to make videos about this. I know a lot of people ask me tons of questions about the heroes. I'm like, I don't know. I just used like a 250k defender team and I got through it. It didn't seem that hard, so I didn't make a video. But I'll try to make videos about clearing all of these. They're saying level 75, 6 gold star, 4 red stars, gear tier 12, ability level 66664, and Stark Tech 20%. And the first 3 nodes is going to be Sinister Sick, Hydra, and AIM. Probably going to be able to go through with AIM. And these are all going to be villains. And then the next 3 is going to be Mystic. So I think of characters like Hela. And then the last 3 will be no other trait requirement. So Hela is going to be on the very last one on the 9th node. And so that's going to give access to all of the Asgardians, which are required to unlock Black Bolt. Hela is going to be farmable in a node at the end of the villains. Loki and Thor have been available for a while. Sif is going to be a challenge inside of the War Store. Heimdall is going to be pretty easy with the Arena Store. I'm already off and running on Heimdall in the Arena Store, and I think I'll have him at 7 stars. So it's really going to come down to Sif, and that she's taking resources away from me getting into Dark Dimension 3. They did rework the rewards into Dark Dimension 3. It was very controversial. They were going to give 1 7-star character away in a Valiant Orb, and I was cringing of the idea of pulling a 7-star rescue. They changed the format of that. They're no longer going to have an orb. Instead of having an orb, they're going to give away upgrade tokens. These gold upgrade tokens that we've already been given 10 of, but basically enough gold tokens to take a character up to 7 stars. My feeling is that most people will use these for taking characters from 5 to 6 stars instead, because it costs 5. I would rather have several 6 stars than 1 7-star myself, but we'll see how that plays out. I'm a big fan of that. That sounds like a good thing to get rid of the Valiant Orb. They also mentioned that the next legendary event is going to be Invisible Woman, and I'm waiting for this one myself. Invisible Woman is an amazing character, and Invisible Woman requires Sinister 6, and so you can unlock Invisible Woman with 5 5-star Sinister 6 characters, or you can unlock a 7 Red Star Invisible Woman with 5 7-star Sinister Six characters. Also of note about Sinister Six is that because they are the Spider-Verse tag, they also can unlock Shuri. So with a full team of Sinister Six, you can unlock 2 legendary characters, Invisible Woman and Shuri. Both of those characters are very, very good characters. Invisible Woman is arena viable, absolutely useful in U7, good in nearly every game mode, and Shuri is amazing inside of Ultimate 7. She's one of the premier raid characters, a part of the raid trio of Ultron, Scientist Supreme, and Shuri, making U7 possible. It's kind of a big deal. Then they also talk about the Symbiote Spider-Man milestone event going away. In a prior blog post, they mentioned that there were going to be 2 more Symbiote Spider-Man events in the future, but they didn't say what the reward structure of those events are going to be. But they said the net number of shards over time was going to be higher than prior events because they were going to run the event 3 times. I know when it first came out, it was very controversial. It was like, because it looked like the rewards were a lot worse. Basically, at the end of the day, it's just going to take a lot longer to get Spider-Man Symbiote up and running, and there's going to be 2 more events in the future, at least 2 more, but they did say that the structure will be changing. Then they also mentioned inside of the video 2 things that I thought are of high importance. They showed the contacts list and able to basically play against one of your friends, and it wasn't clear to me if this was real-time PvP or if I was just able to play that person's defensive team. Either way, that seems like a fun tool for me to make videos with Valley and Casino. I could play against their teams. We can set up certain matchups and we could play. And it also will create kind of like a sandbox mode. I think that is very good. If it's real-time PvP, which was my understanding, but they weren't clear to me in the next one if it's going to be real-time. Oh boy, we could do real-time battles. That sounds like a lot of fun. And more importantly than that, there is going to be this update to Blitz. And the Blitz thing, I think, is pretty cool. You're able to toggle and hit next team. So you can go right into the next team right away, and you don't have to go into the save squad and load up another team and take a lot of time. So you should be able to just go 1 through 20, boom, 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 boom. It's going to make Blitz a lot better. Absolutely, I'm pretty excited about that. Then there's going to be another Relic event right here for hand. Not a big deal if most people have hand up and running, but if you don't, this creates an excellent opportunity to get your hand up and running, and 2 of the hand characters are actually required to unlock Phoenix, Hand Assassin, and or Nobu, but with the introduction of a new villain, Mystic Controller of Hela, I would suggest doing Hela if you have access to her, rather than the other Hand Assassin. Hand Assassin is not a good character, and neither is Nobu. So I overall was pretty happy with this blog post. Sif going into the War Store is not good. Black Bolt was already really hard to get. And it was the first time that we've had a legendary event where basically there was no access, free to play. And I'm going to say that even right now, with the way it is, this is going to be a struggle for a lot of people to unlock him the second time around, because the War Store is not an efficient way of unlocking characters. However, I had a feeling that one of the characters would be in the node and one of the characters would be in the War Store. I was almost worried that Hela was going to be in the War Store and Sif was going to be the last one in the Villains node, which to me would have been even worse. Although because we're getting 100 free Hela shards from Mac finishing Dark Dimension 3 first, and he awarded the community 100 Hela shards, it actually would have been easier if it was the other way around for me personally. But I think that would be more annoying because Hela is actually a good character. Sif is a situational character where Hela is useful in nearly every game mode. And so I'm glad that I'm going to have access to Hela a little bit quicker and easier than Sif. And hopefully inside of this villains mode, we're going to have more access to the pieces needed to get into Dark Dimension 3, which should make things a little bit easier. I can't wait for the Red Star rework. That's the thing I probably need the most. I can't wait for being able to play people real time, or even just to play people and their saved teams and have like a miniature sandbox mode, I think that's going to be a good thing. But the outrage and the community that I'm seeing here on Reddit about Sif for war credits is justified. It's not making Black Bolt accessible for most people the second time around. Looks like a lot of people are not going to get Black Bolt probably until the third time around. All right, guys, thanks for watching and keep on gaming.